all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight.
It's all gone very smoothly, and we're so pleased that we're part of it, because this is going to be a very historical day.
Yes, I'm bringing you exclusive footage of the Unite the Kingdom rally in central London today. The liberal elite media are calling it a far-right rally. Well, I've asked those that were there what they thought about that.
We've also then seen, within men, the largest contributor to men's deaths right now is male suicide.
Yeah, should the student Oxford Union President George be sacked from his position? He posted on social media after the news of Charlie Kirk's assassination, celebrating it seemingly, and
anyone who talked to Charlie Kirk for 5 minutes would realize what a good human being he was. He even if you disagreed with him, he cared about people, he cared about his family, he cared about doing good.
Another night of exclusives. I can bring you a second exclusive interview with Trump's director of the National Institute of Health, as he's been told to beef up security following Charlie Kirk's assassination. Also,
the ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with him. He's right to do so. I have confidence in him.
Oh dear, is Keir Starmer's political career about to implode following 2 scandals since he launched phase 2 of his government? And
we need to work those processes through, but we want to see the returns themselves take place as swiftly as possible.
You can't
and bear in mind, people will be detained until they are returned.
Well, you've waited long enough, but deportations to France may start as early as Monday. But why has it taken so long? And do you really think it's going to make an ounce of difference? And on my panel tonight, Westminster City Councillor for Reform UK, Layla Cunningham, journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, and political commentator Matthew Stadlen. What's going on here then?
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
Trust me, it's not what you think. Your Saturday night starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Bethany Elsey with your top stories from the GB newsroom, and we'll start with some breaking news. 25 people have been arrested during a rally which saw more than 100,000 people march through central London in support of free speech. The Metropolitan Police says its officers were subjected to unacceptable violence, with a number of them being assaulted. The force deployed extra officers with protective equipment and police horses to deal with the disorder. The Unite the Kingdom rally, organised by Tommy Robinson, heard a series of speeches from Elon Musk to Lawrence Fox and former Apprentice candidate Katie Hopkins. Thousands of people also attended a counter-protest called March Against Fascism. The first deportation flights carrying migrants from the UK to France are expected to take off next week. The one-in, one-out returns deal came into force last month. The first migrants were detained last week, and GB News understands the first removal flight could be as early as Monday. The scheme allows migrants who cross the English Channel illegally to be sent back in exchange for asylum seekers who apply and are approved to come to Britain. The Prime Minister is facing growing criticism from opposition parties and Labour MPs over how he handled the crisis over Peter Mandelson. Peter Mandelson was stripped of his position as US ambassador amid fresh scrutiny over his friendship with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. It's understood Number 10 received details of newly seen emails between the pair on Tuesday, a day before Sir Keir Starmer defended him in PMQs. But Starmer says he wasn't aware of the messages until Wednesday evening. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch is accusing the Prime Minister of lying about what he knew. Dozens are paying their respects to the Conservative activist Charlie Kirk at a vigil outside the Turning Point headquarters in Arizona. The co-founder of the right-wing youth organisation was shot dead in Utah on Wednesday. The memorial site is filled with balloons, flowers and American flags. People are taking turns holding up a cross, signing posters, and several made speeches, and one sang the national anthem. In an emotional address, his wife Erica Kirk vowed to carry on his political movement, saying his legacy will not die with him. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was arrested on Thursday after handing himself in to police. He's expected to be charged on Tuesday. The US president is urging NATO countries to stop buying Russian oil, saying he'll only impose tough sanctions on Russia if they do so. In a post on social media, Donald Trump accused NATO countries of wasting time, adding that its effort to end the war in Ukraine has been far less than 100%. He claims if NATO does as he says, the war will end quickly. You're up to date. I'll have more for you in an hour's time.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, Unite the Kingdom. That was the message in Tommy Robinson's electric rally in central London today. Well, I went down to the rally to speak to those attending, asking them what has inspired them to attend today. What do they make of some media outlets calling them far right, as well as their reaction to the assassination of Charlie Kirk? I'm here in the heart of London today, where Tommy Robinson's free speech rally is well underway. They've shut down this entire central part of London here, right by Waterloo train station. There are thousands of people here. You can see flags from across the country. You've got the Welsh flag. St George's Cross is very prominent today, the Union Jack. Of course, for the first time I'm seeing American flags here, and flags depicting Charlie Kirk, of course the assassinated right-wing conservative activist in America. I've been out and about here today talking to ordinary people about why they're here, what they hope to achieve by being here, and what they think the big issues facing the country are. Look at that sea of flags. That shot simply just doesn't do justice to the sheer scale of attendance. I know some figures have quoted 100,000, 110,000, but it was definitely far beyond that. I would say hundreds of thousands of people, maybe more to come on that, but let's see the next clip.
What brought you here today? What's brought me here today? The state of our country being run into the ground by these lefties. You know? I mean, just take a look around you. People of Great Britain are here. United, we are. All right, no, we are right. Close our borders, start deporting, put our people first. Well, you know, people were gloating and cheering that he was shot. You know, he was a lovely man, that fella. You know, I mean, I watched him on GBNews when Ben was interviewing him. You know, it's terrible what they've done. We're being run out of our own country now, courtesy of the Liberal left. You know.
You know what really surprised me was the sheer volume of young people attending this event, all of whom said to me they are worried about the future of their country, and specifically, quite interestingly, many of them were asking where their tax money is going.
I believe that we should, as the taxpayer, we should spend our money sensibly. We should not be giving it to people who haven't earned anything. Like why should people go up and get more than your average person who has paid into the system? It's just not fair. It's not fair. And I believe, you know, and I'll just take this time right now to say rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, and may God be with him, because he is a lovely man.
Yes, many people pointed to their patriotism as their reason for being there, and a sense that free speech is under attack.
So, obviously, patriotism, Alex, obviously just to unite the United Kingdom. I think as well, a lot of it now is a lot of people turning up because of what happened to Charlie Kirk the other day. I think it's galvanised the United Kingdom. Obviously, we're seeing the government not representing the working class people. I think there's a narrative going around globally now, a left-aligned narrative that people start waking up to. It's the demonstration of free speech, whether it be written or spoken, and I think the Charlie Kirk thing says everything we need to know. That man did nothing violent. He never, if he wound people up, that's one thing, and if you don't like what he says, that's one thing. But to kill a man because of his words, same in the United Kingdom, we're seeing people locked up, we're seeing people censored, we're seeing the restrictions. People who are in the media, who know this stuff, who are in social media, see the restrictions that are coming in place, the censorship, and I think people have had enough of it. They've had enough of it. They're wrong. This is not far right. We've got women here, children here, grandparents, like I said earlier, all colours, races and creeds. Everybody's here standing up for the United Kingdom. Everybody's united together. And the bottom line, if they want to call us far right, fine, we're all far right. I think you could then classify the entire nation as far right. This is working class people, elderly, young, we've got kids around here, they're all enjoying themselves, all having fun.
Yes, Britain is broken. Words I heard often. Many people pointing to the judiciary and policing of the country as one of their biggest issues.
Britain is broken with everything. The courts, the police, the colleges, the universities, the immigration. Stop the boats! Stop the boats! I don't mind migrants coming as long as they're legal. I want to know what kind of people are here. Have they got a criminal record? Are we safe? And also, I don't want us to turn into an Islamic state. I'm not far right, I'm just right. I love the diversity, but I don't want it taking over our country with the laws.
This wasn't just an English event, it really was a British event. People travelled from all over the United Kingdom, Tameside, Devon, Glasgow, even parts of Wales.
Come from down in Devon, South Devon, Exmouth. We thought it was our right, we have to make a stand. So we want to show our support.
And how long's it taken you to get down here?
Oh, we've come on the coach. Yeah, actually, we didn't get held up. It's all gone very smoothly, and we're so pleased we're part of it, because this is going to be a very historical day.
Of course, we can't talk about this rally without looking at similar rallies. The pro-Gaza rallies, of course, have sparked major anti-Semitism concerns amongst Brits, many of whom attended the Unite the Kingdom event.
I'm a British citizen and I stand for British values. So I'm here to wake up Britain and Brits stand for our values. We're going to lose them if we don't. It'd be a funny thing to call me far right. Is that right?
And what's the biggest issue facing the United Kingdom today?
I think it starts with anti-Semitism. If we don't deal with this, they always come for the Saturday first and then the Sunday.
Well, perhaps my largest and biggest takeaway was this. I never saw a single act of violence, anything that led me to believe these people were in any way so-called fascists, far-right, or indeed any other slurs thrown at these protesters by many in the media and the left. The sense that Britain is broken is a common thread, not just of those who felt bold enough to show up at that event today, but now it seems across the entire country. I want to bring in my brilliant panel in just a moment, but I want to bring you some breaking news before we get to them. The Met Police has said 26 of its officers have been injured in these protests today. It said while both protests began largely without incident, it is deeply regrettable that a number of those who were part of the Unite the Kingdom protest became involved in disorder in multiple locations. The force added that it has arrested 25 arrests for offences including affray, violent disorder, assault and criminal damage. Now, listen, before we get back to the part, I want to say one more thing off the back of that. Violence, as we have just seen over the last week, is not the answer to solving your political woes. If you are one of the very, very small amount of people that committed a violent act today, shame on you. Shame on you for the hundreds of thousands of people that showed up there to protest peacefully. You do a disservice to their entire political cause, OK? I just want to make that point. Well, let's get the thoughts of my fantastic panel, shall we? Westminster City Councillor for Reform UK, Layla Cunningham, journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, political commentator Matthew Stadland. Matthew, I'll start with you. Because, of course, we have seen across many outlets today people calling these guys far right who attended this. You know, when I was there, I saw children, people from all different races and ethnic backgrounds, people from across the entire country. And I think Bruce, who was one of the people I interviewed, made a good point. He said if we're calling all of us far right today, then the whole country is far right. What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that I can't speak for or judge the 110,000 people who were there, which you say was many more, but with all due respect, Alex, I'm going to take the official estimates.
Fine, that's
and I've seen the pictures, and there certainly were a lot of people. I've been to Wembley many times, and if you disgorged Wembley onto one long avenue, 90,000 people looks like a lot of people, and it is a lot of people. And I was rather disheartened by the fact that there were at least 110,000 people on that march. And I'll tell you why, Layla, since you want to jump in. Tommy Robinson certainly and unequivocally is a far-right activist, and he is someone that your leader, because I believe you're now a Reform councillor, is that correct?
You know that's correct. We were on the
just want to check. Your leader, because you're asking me why I think that Tommy Robinson, why I was disappointed that so many people came on that show. Nigel Farage was asked earlier this year what he thought of Tommy Robinson. And Nigel Farage, by the way, and I disagree on very many things, and he is miles away from where I am and miles to the right of where I am, but he was unequivocal. He said that he does not want Tommy Robinson joining Reform, and Tommy Robinson will not join Reform. So while I won't judge everyone on that march, and you were out there doing the journalism, and good for you for doing it, I will say that the people who went on that march went on it knowing that the main organiser of that march was a far-right activist and someone who Nigel Farage, who could possibly be the next Prime Minister of this country, doesn't want anywhere near his party or Layla's party.
Layla?
I agree. Nigel Farage and myself, I'm not going to comment on Tommy Robinson, but what I am saying is what I'm hearing from the people there. One of the younger people were talking about taxes, and we all feel it. We have the highest tax burden since World War II, and we're not getting anything for it. Public services are the worst they've been. I don't mind paying taxes if I see police, if I can get an NHS doctor, if I can get good schools, if I can get secure borders, but I'm not getting any of that. And then to laugh in the face of young people, you have both parties saying we're the party of home ownership, especially the Conservatives, and they don't build homes. You've got NIMBYism going on in every constituency that there's a Conservative MP. They don't build half enough homes.
Yeah, and Linda, again, the sense of feeling I get from the people that I spot, and of course I couldn't put all of the people I interviewed on there, which is always a shame because I know people want to get their interviews out on the TV, but from the sense of almost like a sorrow for the country at this moment in time. And do you know what? There was very brief, if any, mention of Tommy Robinson by the people there. It seemed to me that a lot of them people were there because they believed in something was deeply wrong, and this was the only way they could show it.
I can see that you would call Tommy Robinson far right. That's fair enough. But what I think happens here is that when this is reported, and I've heard far right mentioned in several packages and news pieces throughout the day, what that is lazy journalism. That is simply taking a label that you find accessible and applying it to your report when you haven't actually gone out on the ground and found out who is there. Now, what I can say is in my little town, I live in a small market town on the Thames, many people went to that protest. They told me they were going in the week. They're not going in a way to make a political statement, one way or the other. They're going there because they feel disenfranchised, because they feel shortchanged, because they feel a sense of fear and a sense of worry in this country. Hang on one moment, and then they go out on the protest and they want their voices to be heard. And this is people, in my town there are little coffee shops, charity shops. These are people, Guardian readers. You would not expect them to be there, but they were.
OK, just to come back on that. So, as I say, I'm not saying that everyone on that march was far right. What I am saying is that I would like the boats to stop. They're very dangerous, and we do need to have borders. And I'm also very strongly against anti-Semitism as a half-Jewish person myself and the grandson of Jewish refugees from the Holocaust. I wouldn't have gone on that march. I wouldn't have gone on that march for two main reasons. One, because it was organised by Tommy Robinson, who is unequivocally a far-right activist. Two, because I don't feel insecure about my Englishness or my Britishness. I'm extremely proud of both.
It's got nothing to do with
I'll give you one other quick example. The pro-Palestine marches that went out. I have thought and argued very strongly against the response to the horrific attacks of October the 7th, the terrorist atrocities on October the 7th. I've argued very strongly that Israel's response, the way it has gone about it, is wrong. And I've been very strong about it. But I would never have gone on one of those marches. Let me just make the point. I would never have gone on one of those marches because I knew that on those marches, some of the people I would be marching alongside would have been Hamas supporters.
That's fair enough. But you wouldn't, but many people did. And they did it with the best of intentions and with good hearts.
You'll notice.
I think you have to agree with that. Don't apply your opinions because you're just validating your position.
I'm very clear. I don't think they should have got on a march organised by a far-right organiser.
Let me just bring
You'll
Leyland,
notice
please.
how one of the people who attended called it the liberal left, right? He didn't say any slurs. He just called it as it is, the liberal left. What were the anti-protesters calling it? They were calling them fascist scum. And what I read today in The Independent, they were calling it the anti-fascist protest. When you label people fascists, it just radicalises them.
Do you think Tommy Robinson is far right?
I'm not here to comment.
But I'm asking, well, why not? We're talking about a Tommy Robinson organised march because your leader, Nigel Farage, who wants to be next Prime Minister, has been very, very clear. He's probably far right.
Matthew, you're going to interrupt every time I speak.
You've interrupted every time I've spoken. So if you're asking me a question, then let me respond.
I've actually got to listen, both of you. On that note, I actually have to wrap it up there, unfortunately, before we get into more debates, because we will have to move on. But it's so lovely to see so many of you there come up to me and say hello today. It was lovely to see that, and genuinely, I thought for the entirety of the time that I was there was nothing but love and people actually celebrating. Some people sorrowful for the state of our country. I never saw any evidence of anyone far right whatsoever. So it was such a pleasure to be there today. Anyway, time for the Great British Giveaway now, and your chance to win our biggest prize package worth over 104k. You can win a brand new motorhome, 30k in tax-free cash, and here's Hayley Sparks with all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000.
You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model.
We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, coming up, Professor at the Stanford School of Medicine, Jay Bhattacharya, spoke to GB News exclusively about the death of Charlie Kirk and his own experience with death threats. But next...
We've also then seen, within men, the largest contributor to, men's deaths right now is male suicide.
Well, a Labour peer has defended the new Oxford Union president after he celebrated, or seemingly celebrated, the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Many people are demanding he resigns. Others claim free speech. But are free speech advocates being hypocrites on this issue? We'll be getting to that next.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, the incoming president of the Oxford Union, that's the student union part of the Oxford University, who celebrated the shooting of the American commentator Charlie Kirk, has been defended by a Labour peer. The Master of the University College Oxford says George Aberonye's comments were abhorrent but did not breach free speech policies. So no disciplinary action will be taken. Well, it comes as politicians, alumni and donors condemn his remarks, with some calling for his resignation. Well, I'm asking, are free speech advocates hypocrites on this? Should he be sacked or stood down from his role? Well, joining me now are political commentator Fahima Mohammed and Conservative commentator Chris Rose. Lovely to see you both. Looking forward to this debate. Now, Chris, I'll start with you because, of course, many people will say, well, actually, this is his freedom of speech. It's his right to celebrate if he wants to. It's not against the law. Whilst it is abhorrent, he hasn't broken free speech rules at the university. And many are saying, well, actually, no, he shouldn't resign. We should just be calling it out. What do you make of that?
Well, I think they need to go further because this isn't just a simple thing where he's made a little comment. It's, advocating for violence, against somebody who is actually debated in the past as well. And I think it's, absolutely disgusting as well. The Oxford Union is a place of debate where they often, have both sides of the argument presented, and they usually do it in a very, grown-up way. So for him to say something so childish and disgusting shows that he's not really the sort of person who should be the president of such debate. He should actually step down, and I think the Labour peer has got it wrong because they have shown precedent where they want to expel students for simply saying the wrong pronoun to a professor. So if they can do that for that, I think this is more serious. So they should certainly do this for the comments that he's made in the private chat group as well. And I think it does just reveal the type of person that he is, and Oxford's good reputation will be absolutely tarnished by having him as the president, and I do support Conservative voices and politicians boycotting it until he has stepped down or been thrown out of the university.
Yeah, well, Fahima, this is a really good point, isn't it? Because the university has guidance that says if you misgender a trans person, you might be expelled from the university. But when it comes to someone celebrating the assassination, the murder of somebody, well, that's not a line that's too far. Where are the line here? Is there a different line for those on the left and on the right?
No, it's just about understanding law. And George Aberonye's comments about Charlie Kirk was undeniably in poor taste, but they do not meet the legal or institutional thresholds that would warrant expulsion. And
but Fahima, just on that point very briefly, because misgendering somebody isn't illegal either, but of course the university are arguing that you could be expelled for something like that, and I think that's where perhaps the hypocrisy might be on the left-hand side of this.
I don't think it's a left and right thing. I mean, the Oxford Union has condemned the remarks and has stated that they will not take any further action demonstrating a commitment to due process. Institutional autonomy and the principle of free speech includes offensive speech. But under the, Malicious and Communications Act, for it to be said that it was insightful and hate, it does not come under that. Political ideology is not a protected characteristic under hate speech laws. There are groups that are protected, like even asylum seekers. They are seen as protected characteristics under the hate speech law. So we need to understand the law. And plus, it was a WhatsApp comment, private by nature, and these leaks can be taken out of context or even edited. And the actual LOL is also something that was incited out of, juvenile, yes, but it was not incitement, nor was it hate. If he had urged the killing, if he had glorified terrorism, if he had targeted a protected group, then yes, but there was no threats and no intent. And I'm not saying what he did was absolutely correct, but in line with law, this is how we need to sort of observe it. And one case does not mean that in law you have to, say the other means it's the same. They are separate incidents.
Okay, Fema, I just want to bring up some, while we're talking, because I just want to bring up some live pictures of the vigil that's being held currently in Arizona. We'll bring those to you in just a second while we'll still be discussing this, of course. And Chris, I'll pass it back to you as well here, because, of course, many would say, actually, as I said before, this is his right to be able to do this. It is disgusting. But if someone on the right had done this, perhaps, we might be saying, actually, this is OK. And perhaps someone like Charlie Kirk would even argue it is his right to be able to say this. And Charlie Kirk was the man that didn't want cancellation. He wanted public debate, and he wanted to expose people on the left for hypocrisy, and he wanted to have this. So perhaps this is not perhaps not within Charlie Kirk's own ideology to counsel the Oxford Union president.
But the thing is, I would be very certain in believing that if a white student who was president said the same similar comment about George Floyd in 2020, I can guarantee they would have been expelled. So I think it's just about consistency. And also, if he does remain a president, then what would happen if somebody else who comes onto the debate has similar views to Charlie Kirk? Would they really want to go there and debate while somebody like him who would possibly rejoice if they were assassinated as well? It just doesn't give the Oxford Union a good reputation to keep him as it is. And I did read that the Oxford Union has a threshold of signatures that they will almost meet where they can actually force him to resign. And I hope that does happen if the Labour peer doesn't take any action.
Fahima, very briefly, if you don't mind responding to this, but of course, many people would say that, this is a man, the Oxford Union president, actually debated Charlie in person. How would anyone have any confidence to continue that very, very old tradition of debate at the Oxford Union if they feel their opponent is going to celebrate them if they die?
Well, because free speech exists precisely to protect offensive and unpopular views, right? But at the same time, the expulsion for bad taste would set a dangerous precedent, chilling debate. Whereas we've had, Ben Shapiro, Kathleen Stock, even with heavy criticism, retain their platform under the academic freedom. So the selective outrage often depends on political teams, not consistent principle. Okay. And I think that in this case, we are making assumptions from a particular person. It's not about right or left. It's not about black or white. It's about upholding law, regulation and legislation. And it applies to all sides. And this is why we are in the UK, because that's what we try to uphold. And it isn't a two-tier thing, as people say. It's definitely not, because we see both sides complaining.
Thank you so much, Fahima Mohammed, Chris Rose. Lovely to have you both on my show. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, the Oxford Union has released an updated statement. They say, we emphasise that these are his personal views and not those of the union, nor do they represent the values of our institution. At the same time, we are deeply disturbed by strongly condemn the racial abuse and threats that the president-elect has faced in response. The Oxford Union does not possess executive powers to summarily dismiss a president-elect. However, the complaints filed against the president-elect will be addressed with the utmost seriousness. And of course, you saw their mourners gathering at Turning Point's headquarters in Arizona to pay respects to the recently deceased Charlie Kirk. Well, coming up, Peter Mandelson's sacking leaves Keir Starmer completely exposed. But could his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, be the real next casualty? But next.
Anyone who talked to Charlie Kirk for 5 minutes would realize what a good human being he was. He even if you disagreed with him, like he cared about people, he cared about his family, he cared about doing good.
Professor at Stanford School of Medicine, Jay Bhattacharya, exclusively spoke to GB News about the death of Charlie Kirk and his own experience with death threats. This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Whilst the weather across the UK is going to be very unsettled tomorrow, it's a different story across many southern parts of Europe. Lots of fine and at times sunny weather around, a few showery bursts fringing into both the northwest of Spain and also some far eastern parts, a few showery outbreaks for Italy and some heavy showery rain towards parts of Greece and into Croatia. But otherwise it is generally going to be dry for most and with some decent sunshine, feeling very warm indeed. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There'll be a few showers around on Saturday night, but for most, Sunday is set to start dry with some sunshine in the east. It won't last though. Wet and windy weather is going to arrive from the west, and that's courtesy of this area of low pressure. And these weather fronts will bring some rain to many places by the end of the day. The isobar is tightening to bring some stronger winds as well. Back to Saturday evening though, and the focus of the showers will be across more northern parts of England and perhaps North Wales for a time. Otherwise though, many places turning dry overnight tonight with clearing skies, and it's set to be quite chilly, so temperatures in the countryside perhaps falling down to low single figures and even cold enough for a touch of frost in some prone spots. It does mean though, underneath those clearing skies, that Sunday is expected to dawn on a mostly sunny note. Any mist and fog patches across inland parts of Scotland quickly clearing away, and then blue skies for many, at least for a few hours. Just one or two showers around the coast perhaps, but many places starting dry. Already turning cloudy though for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest, and there's rain not too far away from Cornwall, and this is going to be the signs of things to change. So this rain will spread its way eastwards through the course of the day on Sunday, turning wet by the end of the morning for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest. Some heavy bursts of rain arriving too, particularly over the higher ground, and even any early morning brightness in the east will be short-lived, with it turning cloudier here too, and some outbreaks of rain arriving by the end of the day. With the winds strengthening as well, with Irish Sea coastal gales by the afternoon, it's going to feel fairly cool and unpleasant where it's raining. The winds stay strong as we go into Monday. A yellow warning for wind is in place across many parts of England and Wales. So the showers here moving through very quickly, but still some heavy downpours with rumbles of thunder in places, and some more frequent showers across more northern parts of the UK. It stays changeable through the week ahead, a mixture of sunny spells and showers, and it will also be quite windy at times.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, GB News' science and health editor Lucy Johnson has exclusively spoken to a Donald Trump cabinet member, the director of the US National Institutes of Health, Jay Bhattacharya, about the death of Charlie Kirk and his own experience with death threats. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I actually got to know Charlie a little bit. In fact, I was on his like show just a little while before he died a couple of months ago. And I have a great admiration for him. He had a young family, obviously very brave. He I was a professor. He clearly had a joy in and a desire to talk to young people and reason with them. I mean, as a professor, I shared that mission. And the fact that he was essentially assassinated in a college campus setting it hits home really hard to me. We need a society where we can talk to each other even if we disagree. We can reason together. If anyone who talked to Charlie Kirk for 5 minutes would realize what a good human being he was. He even if you disagreed with him, like he cared about people, he cared about his family, he cared about doing good. And you may disagree about what his notion of the good is, but you can talk with him, reason with him, and change his mind. I've had that. I actually had a conversation with him where I think I changed his mind. I got death threats constantly for several years. I got a tremendous pressure from my university to be silent. And as you said, I was blacklisted by Twitter. My own government undertook activities to make sure that my point of view did not get out into the community at large, and on social media and elsewhere. It was heartbreaking, and sometimes it was just scary. I was actually afraid to walk around Stanford campus. There were posters everywhere, essentially threatened. I felt like there were death threats against me as a result of my advocacy during the pandemic. They want me to have a little more security than I'm used to having. I don't really love that, but I'd love to be able to ride the metro freely and openly, but everyone's telling me I shouldn't be doing that. I have to keep doing my job. I mean, I'm not here to protect myself. I'm here to accomplish the mission of the NIH, which is to advance people's health, to improve health. I mean, that's my purpose, of my career, and I'm going to keep doing that.
Well, we're now joined by GB News' science and health editor, Lucy Johnston. Thank you so much for joining me, Lucy. What a fantastic interview you conducted there. Totally enlightening on the situation in America then, and somewhat worrying to hear that these very senior politicians, I guess, in some respects, are needing to worry about their own safety following that abysmal and, of course, horrific slaughtering of a man who simply wanted to debate young people on a campus.
Absolutely. And Reuters has done some research. So the news agency Reuters has done some research showing there's been a massive increase in politically violent acts since 2021, actually, since the storming of Congress. And it's Jay Bhattacharya. I've known him for years. He was frightened during that time, during the pandemic. He did face actual death threats. And he's been handpicked by Donald Trump now to go forward, and he's still facing verbal abuse. During his President Trump's presidency and under his watch, there have been billions of pounds worth of grants cut for diversity research, trans health research, long COVID research. A lot of the diversity and inclusion research has been cut. And Professor Bhattacharya has been vilified by his own scientists. 500 of them have signed a declaration to say they don't support him. So he's under fire all the time and under fire again. But he says that he wants to get back to basics. He wants to look at the big killers, diabetes, heart disease and cancer, and he wants to take ideology out of science. And I think this is his main sort of thrust, really. He wants there to be open debate, he wants there to be freedom to speak, and he doesn't believe that these, he believes that we're becoming more and more, the ideologies, we're becoming personal about them, and people are getting deeper and deeper into their echo bubbles. And he says that if we meet people, if we debate openly, then we could perhaps smooth over some of these differences.
Yes, well, Lucy, briefly, if you don't mind, but what did he say the remedies to this are? Do we need to be going out in public like Charlie Kirk did? Do we need to be having these conversations with people more openly? Because a lot of people don't talk about their politics. It's only something they keep inside of them, their private thoughts. Do we need to encourage more people to speak up?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think the problem, he says, is that people are taking their political beliefs into the personal realm. And interestingly, when 500 scientists did sign a declaration against what he was doing, he invited them in. He said, come and talk to me. He said a few of the things he agreed with, and he changed it. So if we keep talking to each other face to face, what he thinks is very wrong is that we're spending so much time on technology, and he blames a lot of that on the lockdown, which that was the reason he was against blanket lockdowns, and that's why he was vilified and blacklisted, and why he faced those death threats in the first place. So he's very much against that and believes face-to-face, humans meeting each other, and I think he's very passionate about that.
Yeah, me too, Lucy. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That's GB News' science and health editor there, Lucy Johnston. Thank you very much. Well, coming up at 10 p.m, I've been pretty angry this week. I don't know if you see me on X or other social media, but I am angry at the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man whose only crime was sit and debate with young people politely, respectfully and intellectually. Of course, slaughtered because the intolerant left just couldn't beat him with ideas and words. But next.
The ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with him. He's right to do so. I have confidence in him.
Well, Peter Mandelson's sacking Lee's Keir Starmer exposed, but could his Chief of Staff Morgan McSweeney be next? This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, fresh turmoil for this Labour government today. Well, and over the last 2 weeks, I guess Peter Mandelson's sacking has left Sir Keir Starmer badly exposed. But could it be Morgan McSweeney, his powerful chief of staff, who pays the price? Well, McSweeney is accused of fighting to keep his old ally Mandelson in post, despite warnings over his ties to the infamous Jeffrey Epstein. While Starmer has publicly expressed confidence in McSweeney, and Downing Street has denied that Number 10 overruled security services or that McSweeney prevented Mandelson being sacked. But pressure is now mounting on both McSweeney and the Prime Minister. Well, I'm now joined by Labour Blackley and Middleton South MP Graham Stringer. Graham, thank you so much for joining me. Well, I think, Graham, we have to start with Morgan McSweeney because, of course, the press, the printing press at least, are crediting Sweeney as the man who kept Mandelson in place despite the warnings, despite the emails that had come through saying that there's more to this story, and had been the man that had said to Keir Starmer it's OK to go out and defend him, which has now put the Prime Minister in an incredibly difficult position. Who needs to go here?
Well, I've never met Morgan McSweeney. I read stories about him. But at the end of the day, he's a paid employee. He's an official, albeit a political official. The person who has to take responsibility for everything is the person at the top. Whatever advice he gets, the Prime Minister takes a decision and the buck stops with him. He is responsible. He's the top man.
So, Graham, should the Prime Minister resign?
No, I don't think so. I think he should improve quite a lot. The last fortnight has been a disaster. The first 13 months of this government has not been as good as I would wish it to be. It got off to a terrible start with the winter fuel payments and the welfare payments discussion and suggestions. That was a bit grubby of people getting free holidays, free dresses, free glasses, all those sorts of things. The Prime Minister is responsible for the lot. He's the top man.
Okay. Well, just on that point, Graham, because of course, sorry to interrupt you, Graham, but the Prime Minister has come out in support of Mick Sweeney. They're denying any wrongdoing, of course. But I just want to get your opinion on another story here, because we've got a couple of things I want to ask you, because there have been quite a lot of reports in the media over the last, at least, let's say, 48 hours or so, that Andy Burnham, the current mayor of Manchester, is considering running. Now, there's a lot of speculation that he's considering your seat and that you may stand aside soon, perhaps, to let Andy Burnham run in your seat.
Every time I walk into a television studio or a radio studio or even do interviews, I'm asked that question. I was elected last year. I intend to stay for the full Parliament. That's what my party selected me to do. That's what the electorate voted for, and that's what I will do to the best of my ability. There's no truth in it. I see Andy and talk to him sometimes. He's never made that suggestion to me. And in terms of Andy standing against the Prime Minister, one, the standard political thing to say is there's no vacancy. That can always change, but there is no easy pathway through for Andy. He can't stand for a seat and stay as mayor. So I think there is mischievous speculation around this. Certainly I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not sure that Andy would give up the mayoralty.
Okay, interesting.
On the uncertainty of getting elected.
No, that's good to get your clarification on that, Graham. We appreciate that. And a very brief response for you on this one, if you don't mind. Well, Elon Musk has called for the dissolution of Parliament. A change of government, he says, is needed. What do you make of someone like Elon Musk calling for that? Of course, he's now getting heavily involved. I believe he may be, working with some new political parties, perhaps. What do you make of Elon Musk's involvement in British politics?
There are pretty strict rules against foreign involvement in British politics. They're unwelcome. I mean, he's a very rich man. I'm sure he can find legal ways of funneling money into the UK. But at the end of the day, he's a foreigner. He's got no say in our politics. He's banned from donating to our political parties because he's a foreigner. So it's most unwelcome. I mean, he's entitled to his views, but he shouldn't be interfering in British politics.
Graham Stringer, Labour MP, thank you so much for joining me. Lots of interesting stuff to dig into there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Well, coming up, the first deportation flights carrying migrants under the UK's returns deal with France are expected to take off next week. But next...
My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children.
Absolutely harrowing watching that video of the widow of Charlie Kirk, isn't it? Absolutely harrowing. I'm furious about what's happened in America and the ramifications for that assassination of a man who just simply wanted to have an honest, an intellectual discussion with people in public, with students, with young people being slaughtered by what I would call the radical left is, well, it sent me off on one, I'll tell you that. And I'm going to be telling you more about that very, very soon. Stay tuned. I will see you very shortly.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There'll be a few showers around on Saturday night, but for most, Sunday is set to start dry with some sunshine in the east. It won't last though. Wet and windy weather is going to arrive from the west, and that's courtesy of this area of low pressure. And these weather fronts will bring some rain to many places by the end of the day. The isobars tightening to bring some stronger winds as well. Back to Saturday evening though, and the focus of the showers will be across more northern parts of England and perhaps North Wales for a time. Otherwise though, many places turning dry overnight tonight with clearing skies, and it's set to be quite chilly, so temperatures in the countryside perhaps falling down to low single figures and even cold enough for a touch of frost in some prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clearing skies, that Sunday is expected to dawn on a mostly sunny note. Any mist and fog patches across inland parts of Scotland quickly clearing away, and then blue skies for many, at least for a few hours. Just one or two showers around the coast, perhaps, but many places starting dry. Already turning cloudy, though, for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest, and there's rain not too far away from Cornwall, and this is going to be the signs of things to change. So this rain will spread its way eastwards through the course of the day on Sunday, turning wet by the end of the morning for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest. Some heavy bursts of rain arriving too, particularly over the higher ground, and even any early morning brightness in the east will be short-lived, with it turning cloudier here too, and some outbreaks of rain arriving by the end of the day. With the winds strengthening as well, with Irish Sea coastal gales by the afternoon, it's going to feel fairly cool and unpleasant where it's raining. The winds stay strong as we go into Monday. A yellow warning for wind is in place across many parts of England and Wales. So the showers here moving through very quickly, but still some heavy downpours with rumbles of thunder in places, and some more frequent showers across more northern parts of the UK. It stays changeable through the week ahead, a mixture of sunny spells and showers, and it will also be quite windy at times.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hello, I'm Alex Armstrong. Breaking tonight.
This is our country. You should be here standing with us.
Well, 25 arrests and 26 police officers injured, apparently, at today's huge Unite the Kingdom rally. The Home Secretary has slammed those who got violent today. We'll bring you the latest developments as we get them. But it's interesting, isn't it? The Home Secretary didn't slam other violent protests. Interesting also.
My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children.
Well, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man whose only crime was to sit and debate with young people politely, respectfully and intellectually, was slaughtered because the intolerant far left just couldn't beat him with words and ideas. Also, Sir Keir Starmer to... I can't believe what I'm reading. Sir Keir Starmer to channel Winston Churchill. Yeah, well, I don't know if I buy that. Look at the picture. Well, that's according to The Sun. The newspaper says he's trying to fill his shoes by pledging a bold new trade deal with the United States this week in the wake of Donald Trump arriving in Britain for a historic second state visit. The deal has been months in the making and will bring supposedly billions of pounds of investment to the UK and create thousands of jobs. The government inside as well, they say that at least. Big US firms including Nvidia and OpenAI are poised to back the major investment in UK data centres. The Strictly curse has struck before it had even started. Thomas Skinner has admitted to cheating on his wife just weeks after getting married. Of course, the ex-Apprentice star had a 2-week fling with a beauty clinic boss who he'd met in the pub.
And we need to work those processes through, but we want to see the returns themselves take place as swiftly as possible. And bear in mind, people will be detained until they are returned.
Oh, finally, deportations to France may start as early as Monday, but why has it taken so long? Joining me this evening on my panel, Westminster City Councillor for Reform UK, Layla Cunningham, journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, and political commentator Matthew Stadland. And what is going on here?
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
It gets so much worse, trust me. Your Saturday night starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Bethany Elsey with your top stories from the GB newsroom. 25 people have been arrested and 26 police officers injured during a so-called freedom of speech march through central London. The Metropolitan Police says its officers were subjected to unacceptable violence, with a number of them being assaulted. Injuries include broken teeth, a possible broken nose, a prolapsed disc and a head injury. The force reports more than 100,000 protesters gathered in Whitehall for the Unite the Kingdom rally, but the organiser, Tommy Robinson, claims more than 1 million attended. Demonstrators heard speeches from Elon Musk, Lawrence Fox and Katie Hopkins. Around 5,000 people also attended a counter-protest organised by Stand Up to Racism. The first deportation flights carrying migrants from the UK to France are expected to take off next week. The one-in, one-out returns deal came into force last month. The first migrants were detained last week, and GB News understands the first removal flight could be as early as Monday. The scheme allows migrants who cross the English Channel illegally to be sent back in exchange for asylum seekers who apply and are approved to come to Britain. The Prime Minister is facing growing criticism from opposition parties and Labour MPs over how he handled the appointment and then sacking of Lord Mandelson. Peter Mandelson was stripped of his position as US Ambassador amid fresh scrutiny over his friendship with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. It's understood Number 10 received details of newly seen emails between the pair on Tuesday. That's a day before Sir Keir Starmer defended him in PMQs. But Starmer says he wasn't aware of the messages until Wednesday evening. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch, though, is accusing the Prime Minister of lying about what he knew. Dozens are paying their respects to the conservative activist Charlie Kirk at a vigil outside the Turning Point headquarters in Arizona. The co-founder of the right-wing youth organisation was shot dead in Utah on Wednesday. The memorial site is filled with balloons, flowers and American flags. In an emotional address, his wife Erica Kirk vowed to carry on his political movement, saying his legacy will not die with him. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was arrested on Thursday after handing himself in to police. He's expected to be charged on Tuesday. And the US president is urging NATO countries to stop buying Russian oil, saying he'll only impose tough sanctions on Russia if they do so. In a post on social media, Donald Trump accused NATO countries of wasting time, adding that its effort to end the war in Ukraine has been far less than 100%. He claims if NATO does as he says, the war will end quickly. You're up to date. I'll have more for you in an hour's time.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Well, I'm very angry this week. I'm angry that we've allowed such a hateful, dangerous and radical ideology to fester in our societies in the West for far too long. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man whose only crime was to sit and debate with young people politely, respectfully and intellectually, was slaughtered because I think the intolerant left just couldn't beat him with words and ideas. Tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of leftists celebrating the death of someone, a young father of 2 children, butchered simply because they disagreed with him, because they couldn't beat him. This was their gut reaction, to celebrate jubilantly while a man lay dead.
Let's all join hands and bow our heads in thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk. Thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers.
That's sick, isn't it? It's sick. I cannot express the danger these people pose to our democracies. These are not people you can negotiate with. Their ideology is not one you can debate. We cannot change their minds and they can't be compromised with. This isn't just an American phenomenon either. We have similarly sick-minded individuals living here in our country too. Well, the left will never admit that they have a problem. They'll play down the radicalisation of the man that killed him. They'll even try to lie to you and say it was a Republican Christian. They're already doing it. Do not fall for their lies. For too long, British people have sat idly by where their values, culture and country are sold off to radicals in sheep's clothing. You're called Islamophobic for pushing back against radical Islamists. You're called transphobic for believing only 2 genders exist. You're told you're far right because you don't want hundreds of thousands of undocumented and often dangerous fighting-age men living next door to your daughters. The assassination of Charlie Kirk will have radicalised countless young individuals. So let me share this warning. What comes after Charlie Kirk will be far worse than the left have accounted for. It's more important now than ever that people look at Charlie as an example. Fair, free, intellectual, respectful dialogue between those that disagree with one another. It's time more people use their voices, put their heads above the parapet, like the far left have been doing for decades now, and started fighting back for the values and for their country. Well, I'm now joined by political strategist and commentator Joey Manarino. Joey, thank you so much for coming all the way into the studio. You, of course, are an American.
Yes.
And you've come to the UK. And I want to just let the audience understand this, because you've come to the UK on the same weekend to attend the free speech rally today held by Tommy Robinson. But also you have been, I'm assuming you have been absolutely dumbfounded by the response to the death of Charlie Kirk on social media and elsewhere.
It's disgusting. I mean, it is unbelievable that anybody could celebrate the death of a father of 2 children, a young father, a husband, a man who was not radical at all. Charlie Kirk was one of the most sound individuals in the country. He just debated people respectfully. He treated them like human beings, more than I would do for most of these people that he was talking to, and they shot him dead.
You know, do you know what, Joey? Because a lot of the British press, a lot of them on social media, I honestly, I couldn't believe what I was reading half the time, have called him an extremist, said his views are far right. And can you tell the audience, the British audience, what it means to be a moderate Christian in America?
Yeah, well, look, you love your country, you love your family, you love God. Charlie literally preached mostly Bible verses, okay? He was a very spiritual man. His positions in the Republican Party were more than mainstream. Many people criticized him on the right for being too moderate in reality. So for them to say that this man was a far-right extremist, they have no idea what those words actually mean, and they've taken those words and made them mean nothing. Because what comes next in the wake of this is going to be very extreme.
Yeah, and Joey, that's my biggest concern here. My biggest concern, this is a man of Charlie Kirk who was renowned for putting his head above the parapet, going and sitting in public, so people could touch the man if they wanted to, right? That's how, I mean, despite having hundreds of millions of followers across, goodness knows how many platforms, this is a man that still decided to do that. Now, they've taken that away. They've destroyed that. What is the fear on the other side of the spectrum? Because I hear people pointing to Nick Fuentes as an example of this. I haven't really seen much of his content, I can't tell you. But what is the worry now of radicalisation?
The worry is that you saw this man get killed in such a public manner. Nobody sees that and is the same. People in the country, nobody's in the mood to unite right now. There's a lot of the politicians saying, let's unite. Nobody wants to unite. You can't unite with people who want to shoot you dead. So right now, there is a very strong division in the country, and it's going to be that way for quite some time. The right wants to defeat the left, and there's absolutely nothing else that there is to do right now.
And Joe, just before we move on, because I want to bring the rest of my panel into this discussion about Charlie Kirk, I just want to get your quick take on what happened today at the Freedom of Speech rally held by Tommy Robinson. What was your impression as an American about that whole rally today?
Yeah, I saw, I mean, a bunch of people who truly loved their country, people who really just want to see the United Kingdom be united once again. I see the media talking about there was a lot of violence. I saw none of it. I saw nothing but love, nothing but patriotism, and I was moved as somebody who doesn't understand all the intricacies of the UK's culture, just to see how that man led that crowd through the day. It was very inspiring to me. I was extremely touched.
Well, Joe, stay part of this debate because I want to open it up to the rest of the panel here. So I've got with me Westminster City Councillor for Reform UK, Layla Cunningham, journalist and broadcaster Linda Juby, and political commentator Matthew Stadlin. Layla, I'll start with you because you are actually a councillor in the heart of this capital where of course, this protest was happening today. But, of course, we go back to Charlie Kirk for a second because there's a connection here, isn't there? And I saw a lot of people with Charlie Kirk placards at this event today because it's touched millions of people. We've had vigils not just in London last night, but around the world. What does it mean that we've lost such a man who would debate so openly like that?
I mean, I think what Charlie Kirk, you know, he spoke to young people who felt betrayed. He told them, you don't have to be ashamed to be a man. You don't have to, you know, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. You don't have to be ashamed to love your country, to be a patriot, to defend your country. And you don't have to be ashamed to value family and faith. And he was a man very attached to his faith, and you know, I respect that very much, and family. And that didn't sit well with the left, obviously, or that didn't sit well with some people. And I don't think it's about left or right anymore. I honestly think it's, and I hate to use the word overused common sense, it's literally wanting law and order, secure borders, freedom of speech, to be able to say what you want, because disagreement is democracy, right? We have to disagree. And for me, that's what he represented.
Linda.
So, Joey, where do you think we are in comparison to America?
So, I mean, the UK, I'm not from here, so I can't necessarily say, but I think the thing in the UK and in many countries in Europe, I don't see families splitting over politics, whereas in the United States, people won't speak to their sons and their daughters if they are of the left or of the right. And I find that to be horrible. I think when you lose your family over politics, that's awful. I don't know that that's happening here so much. I know in the US it is the left is extremely radicalized in our country.
Yeah, and Matthew, just to bring you in on this as well, because there is a sense of radicalisation, and I say this because I believe there is a radicalisation on both sides of the spectrum, and that's what I'm worried about. You know, we have had, I think, the radicalisation of the left has been going on for a very, very long time, but now I feel this is a turning point in which there will be a radicalisation of the right.
I'm obviously much more familiar with British politics than I am with American politics. But let me just reiterate what I've already said on this channel about the brutal killing of Charlie Kirk, that it was an act of evil and should be, as I immediately said, universally condemned. Now, I strongly disagree, as it happens, with some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and stood for. I can label some of them now if you feel it's appropriate, but he's just been murdered, so it might not be appropriate. I said a prayer for him in that short period of time when we didn't know whether he was going to live or die. As far as radicalisation is concerned, where there is radicalisation, it needs to be called out, whether that's on the left, whether that's on the right of politics, whether it's Islamic extremism. And I've certainly seen extremely concerning radicalisation on the right, in parts of the right, in our country. That needs to be as firmly called out as the radical left. Some things I would take issue with very quickly. It's been said that they killed him. Now, I think that we all have a responsibility with our speech and the words that we use, including on social media. That goes for all of us. So calling people Nazis who are not Nazis, if you are on the left, that is, in my view, wrong.
You call me
calling people traitors, as some on the right do, about people on the left who stick up, say, for refugees, is also wrong and should be called out.
Why did you call
and when someone, we must be really careful to use this awful phrase of the Overton window. Is that the right phrase?
It's the right phrase,
yeah. It's a phrase we're coming to use more and more. When someone is Islamophobic, when someone, I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk here, when someone is Islamophobic, when someone tries to whip up hatred against Muslims, we need to be strong enough to continue to call that out for what it is.
Layla?
Matthew, that's all very well and good, but you called me hard right, and when I asked you why you called me hard right, you said because, and I quote, you encourage peaceful protests at migrant hotels, and you said those were their homes. Yet you've just said on this show that you find the boats dangerous. Why do you find them dangerous?
I didn't say the boats were dangerous.
Yes, you said we have to stop the boats, they are dangerous.
It's really dangerous because you, I'm afraid, lied about me on social media after we engaged and after we had a... Let me make my point.
You called me hard right.
No, you said I called you far right, which I did not.
Far right, hard right.
These
are nuances.
There is a difference.
Only an academic like yourself.
No, I'm not an academic. Tommy Robinson, let me address the point. Tommy Robinson is far right. I'm not suggesting... No, you've asked me a question.
I didn't ask you a question.
Let Layla finish and then...
I didn't ask you a question. Actually, I'm saying you said I was hard right or far right. Honestly, I
didn't say far right. No, I didn't say far right. I said hard right.
Anyone that's hard right believes in an authoritarian rule, no political dissent, and for me, it's the left that's asking for that. Second of all, I asked you why you called me hard right, and you said because reform encourages peaceful protests at the migrant hotels, which is their home, and then you tried to guilt-trip me and say, imagine it was your children. Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me. There's not children in those hotels. That's not their homes. These are hotels paid for by the taxpayer. They could be terror cells. They could be rapists. We have no idea who they are, and some have been rapists. Some went on to rape 8 days after this. And you call me hard right for being opposed to that. Would you like your child, would you like your wife and your child to sit in a hotel next to that? No, you wouldn't.
I think there's a certain irony when we are talking about trying to take the heat out of public debate, to be pointed at in such an aggressive and confrontational way by someone who keeps telling me I interrupt her and then continuously interrupts me. Let me make my point and let me respond if I may.
Over and over.
I will stand by what I said in that encouraging protests outside places which are people's temporary homes, and it is simply... It is their home for the moment. It is simply incorrect to say there are all men in those hotels. There are children in some of them and women.
It's over 90%
but even if they were not children, and even if they were in cases where they are only men, it is still obviously wrong because it is intimidating. And I think that is hard. I think that is hard right. I think that is hard right.
It's intimidating to have a rapist in a hotel.
I think that we can see here just a micro example of what you may have been talking about, Joey. Is that the case?
It's a very, very good question, Linda.
That is what we can see here.
Yeah, is this similar to what's happening in America? We're getting this big divide now, the separation.
Well, there's issues that are extremely divisive. I mean, if there's rapists in hotels, that's something that's
Paid for by the
terrifying.
taxpayer.
Yeah, that's something that we had in America going on with the illegal aliens living in hotels.
But my point is that if we can see this clear example of division right now in the studio, we can expect that to expand. Would that be the case?
It could, yeah, but I mean, they're civilly talking it out. Nobody out here is like physically fighting. I think a civil argument, that seemed civil to me, okay? I mean, the term hard right, far right, I don't know what that particularly means.
Same.
Those are terms I don't particularly like to hear because people get radicalized when they hear those words and, you know, they throw around fascist, Nazi. Not you, I didn't hear you say that, but in general, the right is often called things we are not.
And people on the left, are called traitors. Would you agree that when people on the left are called traitors for sticking up for, in my view, decent values? I've already said I think the boats should stop. I haven't said they're dangerous. I think they should stop. Do you agree with me that when people call me a traitor, someone who is deeply proud of my country, deeply proud of being English and British, who's been to hundreds of England sports games, just as an example where I show my pride in my country, when someone calls me a traitor, that is every bit as bad as if I were, and I never would, call you a Nazi.
Right, and I don't know your views well enough to say anything about that, frankly.
Sorry, when people wrongly call people traitors, do you think that's dangerous?
Joe's a guest here, so I want to give this man a final word. Thank you for coming in and joining. This is British debate at its finest for you, Joe. And Joe, so, you know, I think the thing I really wanted to understand from you, after seeing all of this, is do you think Britain is very dissimilar from America in terms of our division? Do you feel, after seeing the rally today, there is a tension rising in Britain? And how do you think that will play out for us?
I mean, I think people are going to have divisions. Obviously, it's a divisive time. Your government is doing some extremely divisive stuff from what I see. The migrant issues, they're boiling over all throughout the West. It's not just in England. Europe is on fire too. You cannot continue to import people from all over the world and not have any clue who they are and expect native citizens to just say, yes, welcome, when these people have no interest in assimilating.
Could it be as bad as America? Could it be as bad as America?
Of course. I mean, things could obviously. America had a lot of division. Now the country is like on fire as well because
so Europe is not on fire and Britain is not on fire.
I have to leave it there, unfortunately, because I've already run over my time. But listen, Joey, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you coming all the way to see us here, particularly because it was great to get a perspective from an actual American on these big stories. I always think we're only 5 years behind America, politically speaking, at least anyway. So let's see how that plays out, shall we? Anyway, time for the Great British Giveaway now. It's your chance to win our biggest prize today, worth over 104 grand. You can also win a 4-berth motorhome and 30k in tax-free cash. Here's all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, coming up, tomorrow's front pages will be delivered hot off the press. Trust me, some explosive stuff on there. You don't want to miss it. But next...
Need to work those processes through, but we want to see the returns themselves take place as swiftly as possible. And bear in mind, people will be detained until they are returned.
Well, it's about time, isn't it? The first deportation flights carrying migrants under the UK's returns deal with France is expected to take off next week. But will it? This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I thought, well, why not? It's a very ambitious project, but I'm not surprised it's so many years behind schedule, and the sheer cost of it is amazing. But it's a shame it looks like it might not be going ahead, but there are a few countries they can use as a bit of a backup.
Oh, Eddie, we've got some images here of you on the screen. Do you remember these moments here?
Oh, I remember them well. It's nearly 38 years ago, back in Calgary, and I can still remember it like it was yesterday.
Was that the 19... So Eddie, just for the audience know who you are the first person to represent Great Britain in Olympic ski jumping. That's right. So that was it 1988. Was this your first performance we can see here?
It was. I think it was the small hill, that one, and on the 70 metre, and then a week later I did the 90 metre. So, yeah, I became Britain's first ever Olympic ski jumper. So I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, well, absolutely. Look at those scenes. They're absolutely glorious, Eddie. Love to see it. Well, just go back to our previous topic there for a second. So you know, I'm guessing you have seen some of the facilities around the world. Where seems like a sensible place to have this? Because, of course, we're considering South Korea and other countries as well. Where would you pick this? What would be the best location in your experience, Eddie?
Well, actually, about, I can't remember the year, but at least 10 to 15 years ago, I commentated on the Asian Olympics, and I was commentating when it was in Kazakhstan, in Almaty. Right. So that's another place that they could use for the Asian Olympics. Unfortunately, in the ski jumping event where I was commentating, there were only 12 jumpers taking part. So it was a very, very small competition, but it was great fun. And they do have a ski jump in Kazakhstan, so maybe they can use that as well as a backup.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, the first Channel migrants are set to be sent back to France as early as Monday under Sir Keir Starmer's new one-in, one-out deal. Around 100 asylum seekers who arrived last month will have been issued removal directions, while a similar number with family ties in the UK will be transferred in the opposite direction. The government says the move is a key step in tackling the small boats crisis, though lawyers are expected, who would have thought it, to mount individual legal challenges. Last month, former Home Secretary and now Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper defended why deportations have yet to take place.
We need to work those processes through, but we want to see the returns themselves take place as swiftly as possible.
You can't
and bear in mind, people will be detained until they are returned, so they will remain in detention. Well, as I said, we want this to be in a matter of weeks. Some of those cases we hope will be able to take place very quickly. In other cases, we are ready to resist legal challenges, which we've seen take place before.
Well, many of you might be saying, finally, but is it actually just a gimmick? Is it all about looking tough but not actually being tough? Well, I've, of course, got a panel here still from earlier on. Laid, I'll start with you because, of course, you guys are the ones, I believe, who started this whole deportation stuff off in Reform UK. I don't think if you were talking about it, the Prime Minister would have bothered in the first place. Is this tough enough?
It's window dressing because we know that the deal is not equal. So France gets to decide if they approve who we send back. We don't get to vet any of them, and we send for their transport back. And who the hell is crossing the channel from UK to France? None. So they might take one back, but we've got thousands coming in. It's window dressing, and Labour are very good at doing that.
Yeah, well, Linda, this is the criticism, isn't it? Is that it's not really doing much and it's not pleasing anybody because people on the right, actually, what they want is mass deportations. Flights to be going off 4 or 5 times a day of people. And this is saying, well, it's kind of one in, one out.
I think the problem is, under this scheme, the numbers are too small. That's just the fact. Even with the Rwanda scheme, people go on and on about it would have been successful. Actually, I've spoken to asylum seekers, I've spoken to immigration experts. The numbers were never going to be sufficient for the Rwandan scheme to be a deterrent, never mind this scheme to be a deterrent. Yeah. And that's the only thing that will work.
Yeah, and Matthew, that's kind of the point, isn't it? The government, of course, and I will always say I applaud them for doing something, because I think the last government absolutely abysmally failed to do anything on this issue, which they sat on for years. At least Labour are trying something. But it's not going to go far enough, is it? That's the problem.
I'm sceptical as to how effective it will be in stopping the boats. It's an incredibly difficult position the government finds itself in. It was a difficult position Rishi Sunak found himself in. He led us to believe he was going to stop the boats. If reform were to become the next government, I think it would be an incredibly difficult thing for them to sort out. Of course, Layla's party would like to do a deal with the Taliban, who treat women more horrifically than any country in the world. You raise an eyebrow, but it's true.
So
Nigel Farage is...
Sorry,
I keep being accused of interrupting, every single time I try to speak, I'm interrupted.
Go ahead, Matthew.
So let me just finish the point, if I may. Nigel Farage has been quite clear he wants to do a deal with Afghanistan. And who is in power in Afghanistan? It is the Taliban. And he says effectively that he would wash his hands of the consequences of people from this country who've come to this country being sent back to Afghanistan, where we know that they do the most horrific things imaginable to women. I don't think that chimes with British values.
Can I just say one thing? You said earlier that you found the boats dangerous.
No, I didn't. You keep saying that. Sorry, you didn't.
OK,
I didn't say that. I said I want to stop them.
Do you find the boat crossings dangerous?
They're dangerous for the people on the boats. Of course they are, and I want them to stop.
Do you find the boat crossing dangerous for British people? Yes or no?
I think the boats need to stop.
You think we can allow men who we have no history, who throw their passports in the sea? How do you know they're not rapists? How do you know? Hang on. How do you know that they're not serial rapists? Terror cells. We have no idea. Other European countries house them in detention centres. Our government doesn't take that unknown risk into consideration and houses them in towns and villages. You're fine with that, are you?
OK, Matthew.
Are you fine with that, yes or no?
What? The levels of aggression. Sorry, the levels of aggression. I'm coming on a show. I'm coming on a show to debate. OK, I have just as much of a stake in this country as you have. I have just as much of an interest in there not being rapists in our midst, of which unfortunately there are many homegrown rapists, as you do. My answer to you is, I think the boats need to be stopped somehow, like Starmer, like Sunak. I don't claim to have an obvious and immediate answer. I hope that the one-in, one-out scheme goes some way to stopping it. I think that if France were to take back everyone that comes across, which they could do, it's open to them, that would immediately sort the problem. I suspect one of the reasons they don't want to do that is some form of punishment for Brexit. Yeah, but on the question of rapes, it is absolutely reasonable for a country to vet people who come to these shores. That's why we have passport control, for example, at Heathrow.
They're not vetted.
And they are vetted. I don't think that they go through. Let me finish. They go through Marston, and I don't think.
How are they vetted with no documents?
What I don't think is that it's a sufficiently effective process. What I think should happen. What I think should happen is that they should. What I think is that should happen is they should be put in secure but humane confinement, because that's what would happen if they tried to get in another way. But to tar them all as rapists, or to suggest that these people are fighting-age men as you have, is to sow the seeds of fear in the population. And that is, if it's not hard right, it's populist right.
Is one rape too much? Is one rape too much, Matthew?
Very calmly. Linda. Final word briefly, if you don't mind.
I'm going to be very brief, because this is a very, very complicated problem. Unfortunately, it has become ingrained in society over a number of years, up to maybe 10 years. So it has to be a multi-pronged approach. That's what has to happen. We have to hunt down the gangs at source, just the way you would drug dealers. Human traffickers are like drug traffickers. You then have to set up, as Matthew says, proper detention centres, which are guarded, because I know from some of the work I've done in inside asylum-seeking hotels, that there are people there who are dangerous and who weren't checked, and you have to be really, really strict about that. You can do the one-in, one-out policy, but you're going to have to grind away at it for an awful long time, and you have to set up a bigger and better deterrent.
Thank you very much, panel. Well, the Home Office have said this. Under the new UK-France treaty, people crossing in small boats can now be detained and removed to France. We expect the first returns to take place imminently. Protecting the UK border is our top priority. We will do whatever it takes to restore our borders, to secure our borders. Coming up, tomorrow's front pages, hot off the press. I will see you just in a moment.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There'll be a few showers around on Saturday night, but for most, Sunday is set to start dry with some sunshine in the east. It won't last though. Wet and windy weather is going to arrive from the west, and that's courtesy of this area of low pressure. And these weather fronts will bring some rain to many places by the end of the day. The isobar is tightening to bring some stronger winds as well. Back to Saturday evening though, and the focus of the showers will be across more northern parts of England and perhaps North Wales for a time. Otherwise though, many places turning dry overnight tonight with clearing skies, and it's set to be quite chilly, so temperatures in the countryside perhaps falling down to low single figures and even cold enough for a touch of frost in some prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clearing skies, that Sunday is expected to dawn on a mostly sunny note. Any mist and fog patches across inland parts of Scotland quickly clearing away, and then blue skies for many, at least for a few hours. Just one or two showers around the coast, perhaps, but many places starting dry. Already turning cloudy, though, for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest, and there's rain not too far away from Cornwall, and this is going to be the signs of things to change. So this rain will spread its way eastwards through the course of the day on Sunday, turning wet by the end of the morning for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest. Some heavy bursts of rain arriving too, particularly over the higher ground, and even any early morning brightness in the east will be short-lived, with it turning cloudier here too, and some outbreaks of rain arriving by the end of the day. With the winds strengthening as well, with Irish Sea coastal gales by the afternoon, it's going to feel fairly cool and unpleasant where it's raining. The winds stay strong as we go into Monday. A yellow warning for wind is in place across many parts of England and Wales. So the showers here moving through very quickly, but still some heavy downpours with rumbles of thunder in places, and some more frequent showers across more northern parts of the UK. It stays changeable through the week ahead, a mixture of sunny spells and showers, and it will also be quite windy at times.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the show. I've got all your front pages right here. Let's get into it. The Independent: chaos as 110,000 join anti-migrant London protest. The Mirror: we will never give up on Ukraine. Observer: Elon Musk marches on London. The Telegraph, which I have somewhere here. Hang on 1 second. Bear with me, everybody. I've got lots of papers in front of me here. Yes, PM hired Mandelson without proper checks. There it is. The Mail: 100 new Epstein emails could destroy Andrews. He's taking everyone down with him, isn't he? The Sun. Now, this is a big one. Tom Skinner there. Strictly Tom, my affair, shame. We have to talk about that one, don't we? The Times: new revelations over Mandelson, increased pressure on Starmer. And another one here, the Sunday Express: Reeves now Chancellor in name only. Well, let's get the thoughts of my panel. As always, we've got Layla Cunningham here, Reform UK counsellor, journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee, and political commentator Matthew Stadlen. Well, look, I think we have to talk about this front page of The Sun, guys, because Tom Skinner, as you all know, become quite a big star on not only our TVs because of The Apprentice, but now on social media, which is where we're seeing a lot of him. JD Vance, he went to, of course, the Cotswolds. JD Vance had lunch with him. And he's made a lot of his career. And I really, by the way, I just want to say, I really like this guy. I think he's just bread and butter guy. He's a proper English lad. But he has made his whole spiel, to, Matthew, about family. And this will throw that into question.
I have to admit to not knowing very much about this chap. I think I've seen him a couple of times on social media. I know that he went and hung out very briefly with JD Vance. I know he's going to be on Strictly Come Dancing. From what little I do know of him, I suspect that we're not entirely aligned politically. However,
I think you might be right, Matthew.
However, far be it from me to comment on his private life. I've always thought that people's private lives are their private lives.
OK,
well,
Linda,
they're private. A lot of people can have private lives, but people who put themselves out there on TV and on social media kind of give up part of that right to privacy, in my view. He's made a great deal about his family connections, about his connections with JD Vance, and if you put those connections out there, you can expect to get knocked down. The higher you climb, the further you fall, and that's the problem here.
He has a bit of an Icarus situation, Layla, do you think, or is he going to be able to recover from this quite quickly?
I mean, I think he might. He hasn't committed a crime. He wasn't best friends with a sex offender like Epstein. He had an affair, and that's between him and his wife if he recovers. If his wife forgives him, then I think the nation has to forgive him. But I don't know if crying on screen actually works anymore. I think...
Yeah, it does.
It's been rinsed a bit by people in the past few weeks.
Yeah, 2-week fling here. I'm just reading a bit more of the front page of The Sun here. It says, the tearful ex-Apprentice star 34 called it a 2-week fling and said guilt took over after he slept with a beauty clinic boss. He apologised to wife Sinead, saying, I let her down in a moment of madness. So obviously she knows, which I think is always a... You don't really want your affair to be plastered on the front page of The Sun. Maybe, that's probably not a good start.
But that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. The minute you raise your profile and you do things like this, which has millions of viewers, and you do plenty on social media.
Well, fame comes at a cost. Fame does come at a cost. You're absolutely right.
The thing is, this is a married couple with a family, and it actually really pains me because I know what they're going through. It's such a massive betrayal of trust between a husband and a wife, and it's hard to comment. We forget that really, 100%. But I think of his wife, just to find that out now so publicly.
Sad for her.
It's heartbreaking.
What I would say, without commenting on his specific case, is that while I try not to judge other people, I do think that it's not a great idea to have an affair.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who really strongly believes in the importance of fidelity, whether that's in a relationship or a marriage. And, I mean, to the extent that I'm not sure being a political commentator particularly qualifies me to give my views on this. But I would encourage people not to have affairs.
Yeah, I think
but once you sign up for a programme like Strictly, you can expect at least the red tops and probably most middle-market tabloid newspapers to scrutinise you morning, noon and night.
Well, there's a reason why this story's so big now, isn't it? Well, I want to move on to the Sunday Express here, because they're making quite a big, bold claim. Matthew, I really want your thoughts on this. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but they are leading on this. Reeves now in Chancellor in name only. PM appoints his own economic advisor and forms a budget board. Of course, we also saw, Matthew, Darren Jones, who was, underneath Rachel Reeves, has now been elevated to his right-hand man. It's not a good look, is it? I mean, she must be feeling completely undermined.
It's an interesting story. I simply don't know how accurate it is, and I've just actually had to get reading glasses for the first time in my life.
So
I didn't know we were going to do the papers, so I haven't been able to read the small print particularly effectively. What I would say is that if we remember back to the New Labour years, they were dominated in part by the TBGBs, the rivalry between Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. And I haven't sensed that, actually, and it hasn't been the best of starts for this government, but I haven't sensed a huge rivalry at all, if any. In fact, I haven't sensed any rivalry between Starmer and Reeves. I'm not surprised if the Prime Minister wants to have his fingers on the budget, although there is a downside to that, because if the budget goes badly and he becomes personally associated with it, it won't work then as effectively simply to let go his Chancellor.
But she has been sidelined.
The only reason he's keeping her is we know it's a big bad budget that's coming up, and he doesn't want to take the fall for it. She's gonna announce it, and she's gonna take the blame, and then she's gonna go.
I bet she's gutted she didn't get reshuffled. I bet I would be. I wouldn't want to be the chancellor.
Well, I think
in this
Keir
economy.
Starmer was determined to keep her in her place.
Yeah. Well, he seems to be. Just reading this here, it says Labour insiders say the Prime Minister's lost confidence in Miss Reeves, but cannot sack her after vowing. Of course, he can't fall as though he vowed she'd remain chancellor for the entire Parliament, didn't he?
By the way, it's not remotely a foregone conclusion that Rachel Reeves will go, even if the budget doesn't go particularly well and the economy isn't in as healthy a state as we might hope. But it's interesting, as you said, that Darren Jones has gone to number 10. Because if Rachel Reeves were to go, you would have thought that he might be the obvious successor.
Well, look, I think the turmoil in this government is going to continue, unfortunately, because obviously I want Britain to thrive. No matter who's in government, I want Britain to do well. I just don't think they've got that out there. I just don't. I mean, use a word I can't use on television, but anyway. Hey, coming up, what's going on here?
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
Yes, we'll find all out whatever that was next, along with my panel's big weekend fails too. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News. See you shortly.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Whilst the weather across the UK is going to be very unsettled tomorrow, it's a different story across many southern parts of Europe. Lots of fine and at times sunny weather around, a few showery bursts fringing into both the northwest of Spain and also some far eastern parts, a few showery outbreaks for Italy and some heavy showery rain towards parts of Greece and into Croatia. But otherwise it's generally going to be dry for most and with some decent sunshine, feeling very warm indeed. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday from 8 p.m.
I thought you'd set up a new version of Pimlico Plumbers in London.
Yeah, my family have set up a company called We Fix London, but we started planning that, 2 years before Labour got in. If we'd known Labour was getting in, we wouldn't have planned it. So obviously we've got to comply with the tax regulations, but anybody with any sense would agree with what I'm saying. The taxes are too high in the UK for wealthy people. Wealthy people can go and work anywhere in the world and be financially a lot better off.
And we had a non-dom regime that was basically stable for 200 years. It's only recently that it's been changed. And we're changing it and making it harder, just as other countries are making it easier. So you can go to Italy and you can negotiate an amount that you will pay. Portugal's been welcoming people. Malta's been welcoming people. All over the world, countries are saying, please come and bring your money. And the UK is saying, we're going to take all your money. We don't want you anymore.
That's right. Look, they're all encouraging sort of UK business people to come there, and it's working. If you become a tax exile in Italy, you pay 200 grand for the year. You don't have to pay no more. But the real problem is we're wasting their money, and they should be encouraging entrepreneurs to be staying. I think our biggest export at the moment is wealthy people.
So you're a businessman. You know how to do things and make a profit. If you're advising the Chancellor on how to get the money the country needs to pay for the public services, what would you be saying? Because at the moment, the tax revenues don't meet our expenditure. There is a gap. Something needs to give.
Resign.
All right, but that's not the answer.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You have the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, I've got two front pages I want to talk to you about. I want to start with The Independent, because they've got this little gem on the top here. I don't know if you can see that on your screens at home, but Peter Mandelson, the now sacked US ambassador, is in line for a mega payout from a taxpayer after, of course, the Epstein links and his subsequent sacking. Layla, we had this conversation, it must have been about a week ago, about Angela Rayner, whether she should be in line for this payment that she's due, obviously, but given the fact that she's voted against, this new disgraced minister bill, which basically means she doesn't get a payout, but whether she should take it or not. And Mandelson is now going to be in a similar boat because he's getting sacked from his job, so he's due a payout. What do you make of it?
So I think it's interesting, because I think Peter Mandelson's angle is like, you knew all this before you hired me. So if Starmer knew everything and still put it through the job, then you can see Peter Mandelson. Not that I agree with anything Peter Mandelson, his connection with Epstein or anything, but he's like, you knew all this and you put me through the job, and now you're pretending you didn't and you're firing me. No. Of course, if Starmer didn't know, but we all know he did, then he's not in line for a mega payout. So I think it's time for Starmer to stand up in Parliament and say, I knew everything and I was completely fine with our ambassador to the USA being besties with...
well, in love is what he said. I love you, didn't he? So, yeah. Linda?
He shouldn't get the payout, end of. I mean, Angela Rayner shouldn't get the payout, but that's much smaller, isn't her?
Well, she's also a politician, so she's got something to lose by taking that payout. Peter Mandelson's never going to...
Right. Well, she should turn the payout down, just because if she wants to maintain her reputation as a role model for women and for young girls and what they... particularly working class women and girls, what they can achieve in life, she needs to turn that payment down. It's only about, what is it, £17,000
Something like that,
her.
yeah.
She can turn it down. He shouldn't be offered it.
Matthew, very, very brief comment from you on this one, if you don't mind.
Shouldn't have been appointed in the first place. Shouldn't have been defended at Prime Minister's questions, I don't think. Whether or not he gets a payout, I suspect, may hinge on what employment law, how relevant it is to ambassadorial or political or ministerial appointments.
All right, we've got these weekend fails I want to show you, so I'll start with mine. I've been teasing it all night, so have a look at this.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off.
I just think that's absolutely... I saw that, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. But look, Matthew, we've got to keep moving. Matthew, what have you got for us?
I think I've got a little clip of Nigel Farage being interviewed about a year ago about the home that he said he was buying in Clacton, in his constituency, whereas, in fact, it wasn't bought by him, it was bought by his partner.
Let's have a look.
Have you been to Clacton?
I've just exchanged contracts on a house there. I'll be living there. Is that good enough? How much time is Keir Starmer spending in his constituency? How much time is Ed Davey spending in his...
Minister, to be fair.
How much time is Ed Davey spending in his constituency? I am representing Clacton, yes, but I'm also leading a national political party.
You missed votes on the budget.
I did.
I mean, it feels like...
OK, Linda, you've also got a video for us shortly, haven't you? What have you got for us?
Well, this is Nick Ferrari, used to be my news editor at Sky, actually, very talented journalist, and we'll see just how talented as we watch this clip.
Let's have a look.
We have to say there's horrendous crimes on both sides, of course, Zoe. I'm sure you'd want to make that point.
Well, Israel is under investigation for genocide.
Well, you're not defending the actions of Hamas, are you?
Well, Hamas are not represented in...
No, I know, but we do need to say there have been grotesque crimes on both sides.
Well, I think we can see what's happening in Gaza right now.
Are you going to accept that Hamas have committed grotesque crimes?
I'm not talking about Hamas.
Are you going to accept that, Zoe, or we can't go forward? It's your decision. I do hope you can just accept that Hamas have committed grotesque crimes.
I'm sure that everything will be investigated and we can go on with the interview.
Now, here, this is... which they couldn't, because guess what? Who's got their finger on the stop button? And that would be Nick Ferrari.
That's it. Layla, what have you got for us?
So we had tube strikes with the tube staff asking for 32-hour weeks on the same pay, effectively a pay rise, while the rest of us suffer with stagnant wages. And here we have a tube driver knitting while he's driving.
Let's have a look.
Half of a train driver knitting
watching TV, press a couple of buttons, 40 bags a year, go on strike whenever he was.
Well, that video was, this is TfL saying this, by this, that video was made earlier this year. We carried out a full investigation and the person involved no longer works for TfL. Do you think they should be getting pay rises? I don't think so. Listen, we've got loads more hot off the press coming your way in just a few moments. Trust me, we've got so much more to dig in to the front pages. Should Elon Musk be involved in British politics? All that and more. I will see you all very shortly.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There'll be a few showers around on Saturday night, but for most, Sunday is set to start dry with some sunshine in the east. It won't last though. Wet and windy weather is going to arrive from the west, and that's courtesy of this area of low pressure. And these weather fronts will bring some rain to many places by the end of the day. The isobar is tightening to bring some stronger winds as well. Back to Saturday evening though, and the focus of the showers will be across more northern parts of England and perhaps North Wales for a time. Otherwise though, many places turning dry overnight tonight with clearing skies, and it's set to be quite chilly, so temperatures in the countryside perhaps falling down to low single figures and even cold enough for a touch of frost in some prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clearing skies, that Sunday is expected to dawn on a mostly sunny note. Any mist and fog patches across inland parts of Scotland quickly clearing away, and then blue skies for many, at least for a few hours. Just one or two showers around the coast, perhaps, but many places starting dry. Already turning cloudy, though, for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest, and there's rain not too far away from Cornwall, and this is going to be the signs of things to change. So this rain will spread its way eastwards through the course of the day on Sunday, turning wet by the end of the morning for Northern Ireland, Wales and the southwest. Some heavy bursts of rain arriving too, particularly over the higher ground, and even any early morning brightness in the east will be short-lived, with it turning cloudier here too, and some outbreaks of rain arriving by the end of the day. With the winds strengthening as well, with Irish Sea coastal gales by the afternoon, it's going to feel fairly cool and unpleasant where it's raining. The winds stay strong as we go into Monday. A yellow warning for wind is in place across many parts of England and Wales. So the showers here moving through very quickly, but still some heavy downpours with rumbles of thunder in places, and some more frequent showers across more northern parts of the UK. It stays changeable through the week ahead, a mixture of sunny spells and showers, and it will also be quite windy at times.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom.